Hey everybody, welcome back to Mofro's Reef. I'm Wayne and this is day 42 update of the 205. A few changes, a few tweaks here and there, a couple corals, a couple new additions as livestock. Not too happy about them and I'll explain why in a few. Start out down in the sump and I'll show you what I changed. Okay, first thing I did is I got on Amazon, I bought me a piece of acrylic, 1/2 inch by 12 inches by 12 inches, and some acrylic rods, and just used some Weldon 4 and made myself a little skimmer plate, little platform there. And as you can see, it's exactly at the water line where it needs to be. And the reason for that is to get more bubbles up in the neck to try to get a drier skim, which I'm shooting for. So as you can see, I got a pretty dry skim going right now. And the reason for that is I'm trying to get my potassium element dialed in, and that's the next step after your calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium is getting your potassium dialed in. And when I first tested for it, it was really low. We're like 310, and it's supposed to be 390 to 410 parts per million. And one thing I read was wet skimming will pull your potassium out of your system. That's the reason for the skimmer plate or the stand. Another thing I did was I got a grounding probe that just sits in your water. It sits right there and it's plugged right into the wall. I was watching Steve Rotter, Rotter Tubes Reef, and he stuck his hand in the water and got electrocuted. That'd be pretty scary, man. I don't want to die because of my reef tank. So for $8, I jumped on Amazon, I bought that, and I'm safe. So another issue that I have is getting my salinity probe dialed in. As you can see, it's reading 43.4, and I know it's reading like 34.6, 34.7, somewhere right in that area. I did buy another new refractometer solution, and I've been testing it, and I bought a bunch of calibration fluid and I just cannot get this thing dialed in. And one thing somebody told me was, hey, test for stray voltage. So I bought a voltmeter, and I do got voltage running through my water. After I'm done with this video, I'm going to get that up, break that out. I'm going to figure out what piece of equipment's leaching voltage into my system, and we'll go from there. I'll make another video on that, but that's something I definitely don't want. I don't know how common it is, but it's happening. I don't know how much of a difference that'll make for getting my salinity probe calibrated in check, because when I take it out of here and I stick it into the calibration fluid again, it'll read on the money 35. So something I'm gonna have to figure out. Tomorrow the Zeovit's gonna get changed out. It'll be 1 month. My bag of carbon's gonna get changed out. All right, let's go up top. Up here, the only issue I have up here now is I'm getting some light brown hair algae growing. I'm pretty sure it's me doing it, and there's not too much nutrients in the tank. I've never tested for more than 0 nitrates and 0 phosphates, but I am dosing my Zeovit supplements. I'm pretty sure you got to get that fine-tuned. I mean, pretty much perfect for what your tank is consuming. So I'll be definitely working on that to see if I can't get that dialed in a little better. I mean, it's not too bad. There's a couple spots that are getting pretty furry, but for the most part, I mean, I could buy a nice decent sized cleanup crew to wipe this out in a couple days, but the goal of having the Zeovit system is to have a 0 nutrient system, and you supplement the bacteria in there to feed everything. So the last thing I want to do is buy a huge cleanup crew, throw them in here, have them devour all this stuff, get my Zeovit supplements dialed in, and then start killing off my cleanup crew because they don't have enough food to eat. It's going to be a fine balance figuring out exactly where I'm going to be sitting on that. I do have, I think, like 10 snails that are coming in. There's probably 6 or 7 of them in here right now. Not very many. And they're all Trochus snails. I got some algae eaters and some sand sifters too, because my sand bed's getting a little couple spots are getting brown on there too. But I mean, that's no big deal. That's just me tinkering with the system, man, and getting it dialed in for the way I need it to. I'm not too worried about that. I did get some more livestock. Let's see if I can't find them. Got 2 skunk shrimp, 2 cleaner shrimp. Well, Loki, you were right. I probably should have quarantined my corals. I don't know if it was the corals that did it, or if it was this fish right here, my chevron tang. He was only in quarantine for a month. But I have Crypto, aka Ick, is in the system. You can see the spots on him right there. So he's been going over to them cleaner shrimp and getting, you know, all these parasites ripped off him every once in a while. So my chevron tang and my flame angel are the only ones that are showing signs. No one else is. But it doesn't matter. You know, once it's in, it's in. There's no getting it out. So you can say I lost the war already. You know, I just started the system. I lost the war, but as long as I win every battle, I'll deal with it. You know, I have Ick in the 100 gallon, and I haven't seen it in like 14 months. So I mean, your fish can thrive with it in your system. It's pretty much in all systems. If you were to get it out, you have to quarantine, you know, all your fish for 2 months. Quarantine all your corals for 2 months. Anything that's wet would have to get quarantined for 2 months and not get put in here. And I mean, honestly, that's just, it's not feasible. You know, I'm not waiting a year and a half to get my fish in my tank, and I'm not waiting, you know, 4 years to get this thing halfway stocked. That's just, you know, it's not an option. So we'll deal with it. It's you know, one part of the equation that I'm gonna have to figure out again. That's reefing. So the new pieces I got this rainbow Nasuta here. And I got this Oculus Blue Crush, and it is not doing good. I might have to move him. I don't know if I have him in too much light, he's browning out, or just the stress of moving him. You know, some of these acros are pretty sensitive. Other than that, everything else is just looking fat and healthy and doing really, really well. It's a Vivid Rainbow Pally back there. There's a couple heads on that. Right down here I got my Candy Apple Red Zoas. And back up over here I got my Fruit Loop Zoas. And down here I just kept the ones out of the 100 that I really liked. I'm not quite sure if these are named or not. I know that one is. That's a Purple Death Pally. Got this Fox Flame by Jason Fox. And that's the one I thought was dead. I don't know if, man, the color's just, you know, I'm looking at it and then looking at my camera. It doesn't know justice. I mean, that is like, the coral's actually like almost a dark purple now. So, it's doing good. Everything else is doing really, really good. I just bumped my blues up like 10%. And my golden torches here, you can see how they're sitting. You can see the little band of shade right behind them. I think as soon as I get off the phone here, I'm going to push them back a little bit. I think they're just getting a little too much light. But everything else is just looking stellar. My red acans here, them are looking nice and hot. Got my rainbow acans right here. These things are looking really nice and good too. This poor guy over here, man, he needs to find a home. He's been crawling around for 3 weeks now. What I just did was today is I took some white tubing and a hammer, which really scared the hell out of me. And this is kind of where he's been gravitating towards, right here. So there was a couple branches in here, and I took the tubing, and you know, this huge rock is sitting directly on the glass. So I took the huge tubing and my hammer, and I hit it there and busted that piece out, and hit it there and busted that piece out. I gave him a little hole to hopefully he can stick his foot in, you know, so he's happy. Because he needs to get happy quick, because I really, you know, I'm changing out my Zeovit tomorrow, and then I'm waiting 2 weeks probably for stuff to settle back down. And you know, I'm gonna drop some dollars on some acros, and he better have a place to live in this tank, or else he's gonna have to find a new home out of Mofro's Reef, because I'm definitely not gonna be putting up with him stinging my acros. You've seen him in my 100-gallon though, but that guy was blowing around. He was taking up 30 inches. That would be a perfect place for him in that corner of the tank. He could take the whole thing up if he wants. It's just him being over in the middle here is just not an option. That's not happening. So thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.